Welcome back to Terpy Eyes, back with another weekly video for the channel. Today we are starting out in the new facility for the channel. This is in addition to the cafe and the indoor grow facility. This is an outdoor slash greenhouse, mainly greenhouse facility that's been abandoned by the previous owners. And as we give you the tour today, going over the entire property, you'll see the condition of the entire space and the lack of maintenance and planning what went into this location by the previous Chinese owners. They're currently in another country, back home probably. It's been abandoned for a little while, and you'll see that by the plants that are dead on the inside of some of the greenhouses and just how much junk and debris is everywhere. We really need to take probably a month or two to clean up the entire place, get it back to a blank slate, and really build from there. So let me turn around the camera and give you a quick tour of the entire property that we have here. Okay, we're just starting out at the entrance. We got this shed structure on the left-hand side of the property. This first little bay area was used as a staff kitchen or cooking area. We got a little fridge there for them, a gas burner here, which many Thai people just do fried cooking. So that's where they would do that. We got a sink, some little storage area. You'll notice a bunch of these large greenhouse industrial fans all over the property that are not being used for fan purposes, but they do use them for tables and storage locations. We got a bunch of smaller fans here. They're using this double stack of fans as a kind of a wall to block some light and air going into the space. We got a concrete storage room back here. I don't know what I'll use that for. It currently was being used as a dry room. I definitely won't be using this location as drying purposes. We got our main breaker panel back there, which is pretty much useless. It needs to be redone fully. Let me get in here and see if I can turn on the light here. So that's the condition of the main power coming into the property. So we're gonna rip out all of the electrical in this location and have to redo it. There is an air conditioning in here, which is nice, but I don't know, again, what I'll be using this room for in the future, but it was being used as a dry room. We got some storage back here. They obviously, being from China, had some sources over there, so they brought in a few container loads of different products. Like all these bags back here are fabric pots. I think these are 1.5 gallon size fabric pots. I'll just be putting up a lot of the stuff up for sale. Eventually, we got so much electrical over here. We're just gonna have to go through everything and figure out what's actually here and what can be used and what we can throw out. All these packages here are yellow sticky traps for bugs. So that's really good. That'll be useful in the future. Along with most of this cabling, when we redo all the wiring, we can use that. But just for instance, some tools and other stuff like these LED lights, I just got pricked there. There's probably hundreds of these all over the property, which we will throw out in the future. Like, look, there's a big stack of them down there. But, oh, more right there. Crazy. That's just a quick look. We'll be going through all of this in the near future. Show you guys what's going on. Probably dedicate one of these areas to storage. We'll put these racks up in a better location than where they have them everywhere. One thing that did come with the property that the previous owner left behind is this dog. It looks a little dead right now, but I promise you he's not dead. Very friendly dog. To me anyways, because I feed him every day, but he'll be living on the property. We do have this next little area. I currently have it locked, so I'll show you a little bit later. But this can be an indoor room, which I'm going to be utilizing as a clone room in the future. It has air conditioning, but doesn't have any insulation right now. So it's just a metal wall on one side and then plywood on the other side. But very nice inside, all painted white. We'll go over that in the near future. Tons and tons of perlite on this property, so huge stack. You can see just how much perlite is just in this one location, and then there's another storage area for perlite also. We're going to put that up on Facebook Marketplace, make it available to people. but it's going to take a while to get rid of all this so we can get the storage space back, because I'm not going to be using this perlite at all. On to the next area, we got a bunch of irrigation lines and extra steel poles that wasn't installed on the greenhouse. Once we go over the greenhouses over there, you'll notice that none of them are actually fully installed. We got a pallet of plant nutrients right there. We're gonna have to go over it. Maybe we'll test it out on some veg plants, see how it does. Save some money on that while we use up the stock that we have. Those boxes back there are all plastic pots for hydroponics. I'm not sure if the entire system is there or not, so we're gonna have to just work our way through one area at a time and figure out what we actually have on this property, because I did purchase this entire property. Everything but the land is mine. Everything that is sitting on top of the land is mine. So all this bags right here is vermiculite. We have some more of that in another location. Also a new plastic sheet right here for one of the greenhouses, which you can see the first one has been damaged. So actually later today the workers are going to show up and we're going to replace that first greenhouse. And my goal for the property right now is to, one, clean it up, get rid of all the garbage and unnecessary stuff, and two, get this first greenhouse at the front of the property fully operational and have it as a proof of concept that this greenhouse works properly, the environment is stable, and we'll be utilizing that first greenhouse as a mother area to grow out mother plants, and another portion of that space will be for clones and teen plants, so we can really supply other farms in the area. That is my first goal with the property. Here's our irrigation room or space that we are currently using. This one big tank is for the water that's coming directly out of the well in the ground. This is the first storage tank, and then it will move on from there, either out to the water pipes all over the property, or it gets pushed through our reverse osmosis water filtration system that we have going on right here. Very big industrial size. It is not fully set up, so I'm not too sure if it works or not, but again, we're gonna have to test all the equipment on the property and get it in a working condition how we like. For example, all the water pipes in this area I'm just gonna cut out and redo myself, because the way that they're done and the spacing all over the walkways and such spaced out, you can put these together so it's not such a big of a trip hazard. So we're just gonna cut everything at the pumps and the inlets or outlets and then redo everything. So once all the water goes through the RO system, we have 3 water storage tanks here for strictly RO. That will be good. In this facility, I think I am going to actually utilize the dosatron setup. I think this place is big enough that I am not going to be able to do it myself, and the staff isn't going to be fully trained up at the beginning to really rely on them for the irrigation. So we're gonna have to go full automation and just do stock tanks of the nutrients that we're using. This just walkthrough is going to be all one take. I am gonna cut out some areas where I either stutter or have a gap in my talking, but otherwise it's going to be one entire take right now. So here's a bathroom, a little dirty, a little grungy, which you'll see in all the rooms in this space, but get some white paint in here, finish it off, clean the toilet or replace it, get a shower head put back in here. Here's the water outlet, and there was a shower head before. Just something usable, you know. This is a farm and it is pretty rough. So see, we have nutrients everywhere. Here's another brand of nutrients, some Thai style, I guess. I don't know the quality. We're gonna have to research everything. Have a bunch of buildings over there we'll go over after. Some of the workers that I'll get over the next couple days will clean up all this, break them down, put them into a nice stack instead of being out taking up so much space like that. One other plan I have for this front of the property, once this first greenhouse is operational, is continue this concrete up to or close to the edge of the greenhouse, and then everything from the edge of the greenhouse to the current concrete will be also concrete. So we'll have nice open space to work that's plant free and dirt free, and then we'll continue another awning setup like this, spanning this entire space, so we have covered space outdoors to do some transplanting or whatnot. As we go down the side of the property, you'll see the 5 large greenhouses that we have here. So there's a good look at the first one. It is 8 meters by 40 meters, which is around 26 feet by 130 feet for whatever unit that you go by. Lots of cleanup, water bottles, garbage everywhere that will be needed to take out to the road. Irrigation lines, that's all over here. I've walked through all these weeds a few times being on the property in the last couple days, and my shoes get destroyed with all these prickly weeds. So we're gonna have to get in here once all the garbage is taken out. Like, look, they're already on my pants just from entering the weeds like that. Super annoying. So I'll get the workers out here to clean up all the garbage, and then we'll get a lawnmower in here and knock down all these weeds and put some weed barrier down on the floor. Like, there's an automated irrigation setup that they had back in there. We're gonna have to drag that out of the weeds. But we'll go into this first greenhouse so you can see the insides. You can see that the purlins, I think these are called, the pipes that go down the sides of the greenhouse, are not installed, and then the one down the center also is not installed. I'm not sure if all of them are like that, but this is the first one, and you can see by the electrical setup, not ideal. So we're just gonna cut everything wherever it is and then redo it fully so I can feel safe that everything works good. I think everything was made from China, as you can see from the labels in there on the pump. Oh, a nice dead bird in there. More of these lights everywhere. I guess they were using this place as veg or pre-flower, I'm not sure, but again, none of the wiring is done correctly. We got 3 ceiling fans or above canopy fans here. We're gonna remove all those, get rid of those, and change those to V-flow fans. This first greenhouse does need a lot of work, which it's okay. We'll work from our front of the property to the back and get this place really utilized fully. The ground needs to be weeded out, leveled off again, and then we'll put some weed barrier on the floor so we don't have any issues with plants growing up again, and it'll keep the pest pressure down. Also, down at this end of the greenhouse, it will be directional flow air. So this side will be the intake, and then down there the fans will be pulling it out of the greenhouse. We have wet wall on this side, which is nice, which will not only cool down the air but also keep the space a lot more stable. Below the wet wall right now there's an insect net. We're going to change that to metal siding, so there's something solid from the last foot or two all the way around the greenhouse. So from this pipe down will be metal siding. That way, if people are cleaning the weeds out or any movement is happening at the ground level, it's not going to damage any of the plastic. We really want to make sure that our air is coming through the wet wall and traveling all the way to the other end of the greenhouse, so we have a stable environment and no air is getting sucked from the sides of the greenhouse like they had it set up currently. This is insect net from this pipe, from this pipe to this. So even if those fans are on, it's not going to be sucking air from this side of the greenhouse. It's just going to come from the closest available air inlet, which is the side walls right next to it. So the way it's currently set up is very poor for growing. Let's take a walk all the way down to the greenhouse number 2. We'll just go greenhouse to greenhouse, and then we'll work our way back to the front of the property where there is indoor rooms and clone rooms currently set up. In the future we will utilize one of those rooms for extraction lab and ice water hash. More used pots out here, just making a mess of the property. This one's a little different. It has this one has shade cloth on the outside. This one has shade cloth on the inside. You'll also notice that these first 2 greenhouses only have 2 fans on the ends of the greenhouses. The other ones, once we go farther down, will have 4. So here they are growing. You can see the dead plants. I'm not too sure how long ago they were actually going, but these plants are mite infested, spider mites to be exact. But again, all the electrical in these places need to be redone. We'll get this weed barrier off the walls, all the plants cut down, the pots taken out. But it looks super rough right now, but I believe with my touch and direction, we can make this place very successful, because currently they have the weed barriers lined up down the edges of the greenhouse, I guess as a light depth kind of situation, but I'm not too sure. I'm not going to walk down there too much because this place is pretty dirty, but you can see they have fans sitting on the ground over there, extra fans and stuff, so I don't think they were growing much quality over here. You can see by the quality of the buds that were developed on there. But just a quick overview. It'll be nice to utilize these metal pipes. Clearly these were used for something greenhouse wise, but they ended up just cutting them and making them into stands. I believe that's where those metal purlings went. They just ended up cutting them all off for some odd reason. So either we're gonna have to buy new ones or find them around the property to install. But it kind of sucks not having the support up there, because I would have used those 3 channels of metal to hang lights from. Currently there's only one smaller one down the center, which is not even the proper one, I don't think. But as we go to the next one, greenhouse number 3, you can see that they have this one's covered in plastic with a insect barrier on the other side. This is how I want all the greenhouses, with the plastic all the way down to this area, and then metal siding from here down. A bunch of the plastic is damaged, not done correctly, so we're gonna have to go through the entire property. But you can notice the difference in the fans on this greenhouse compared to those greenhouses. 2 fans, then we got 4 fans over here, 2 on each side, smaller ones at the top. I think when I install the fans on these 2, I'm gonna put the big one there, which is already there, and then the smaller ones closer to the door. Instead of having all the fans on the sides, it would be nice to have a fan there, a fan here, and then a fan there. More spaced out, giving a better air ventilation across the entire canopy instead of just the sides. This one's similar to the previous one, growing in here. We'll go a little bit closer. You guys can see the spider mites in here, since I'm not going to another grow room today, but there you go. They're all like that. We got many fans down there that will have to be taken out and cleaned before utilizing them anywhere else. Once I get a full total of how many fans we have on the property and if they're all usable, maybe we'll put another fan like this, but closer to the door, so there'll be 6 fans on each grow tent and have them on separate switches. So some days we can use just the big ones, on cooler days just the smaller ones or whatnot. Lots of rolls of this weed barrier on the property. I'm gonna have to measure them to see how big these actually are. If they're around 1.5 meters, then I'm gonna cover the entire property fence, like these metal fences here, put the weed barrier across the entire fence around the entire property, so we have some privacy, because once this place is operational, I don't want the neighbors or this road at the back to be able to see inside easily. So here we are down on the 4th greenhouse. Some of these are harder to open than others, and here they were using for veg, or I don't know, some type of indoor style of growing. Here's another fan used as a table. Just such a mess, garbage everywhere. I think in here there was automated irrigation at one point, so we'll go down there and take a look. Tons and tons of fans, can't stress that enough. So very weird that some of these plants are not fully dead. So it couldn't have been too long that the people were not here, or there's a leak in the plastic above where rainfall is getting in. or rain is flowing under the greenhouse tarps and across the ground, making it get to the plants. As you can see, there's some water flow here, and that's where some plants are staying alive. So I think that's more of the cause. Nobody actually being here and watering the plants. It's just water traveling across the ground and ending up getting to the plants, because we did have some water or some rainfall the last couple of days. This side, all the shade fabric that they have on the property is 90%. So maybe they're light depping in here and just pulling tarps every day. I'm not too sure, but 90% still has a bunch of light that comes through. So I don't think that would be the case for light depping. Love the electrical work up here, beautiful. So we're gonna rip all that out. And here's the automated irrigation system that they had set up. I'm not sure exactly what this is or where the water pipes go. So we're just gonna scrap everything that has been used and restart on the water pipe side of things, because I want to get the wet walls set up. None of them are actually functioning, they just are installed. No water lines are actually going to them. So, and they never even leveled the ground before putting the weed barrier down, so it's very difficult to walk on in some areas, big potholes. It's okay. We got a big project on our hands. I think we can successfully turn this place around one step at a time. We'll just knock it out in chunks. Step 1, cleaning up the property. Step 2, getting one greenhouse functioning. Step 3, test for flowering in that greenhouse. And if those 2 scenarios go good with the clone production and mother plants, and then testing for flower quality, we'll move on to greenhouse 2, 3, 4, and 5. Just one of these greenhouses, actually, this can produce the same amount as my entire indoor grow facility. So this is a big step up in production if we can get it to be successful. This greenhouse has no holes in it, has the side, well, I shouldn't say no holes. Some areas are damaged but easily replaceable. But we have the plastic going all the way down the sides like I want in all the greenhouses. So it's very hot in this specific green tent. Yeah, green. I keep saying tent because I'm so used to having the grow tents going, but with this facility, we're stepping it up, boys. We got 5 massive greenhouses. Anyways, it's gonna be hot in here. I don't want to spend too much time in here. I do have shade cloth to cover the entire greenhouse. 5 pieces, all 1 piece per greenhouse. They will be 50% shade cloth. I gotta get out of here, it's too hot. I fucking sweat to death in here. It'll be 50% shade cloth because the Thailand sun is so intense. We learned that when we grew on our rooftop. So now we'll put 50% shade cloth on all these to not only lower the PPFD, but also help with the heat in there. I think with the shade cloth and the fans going, we won't have any issues. Back here at the back of the property, there is another road that goes behind us. So once we have the privacy screen all the way up there, blocking everything, get all these weeds knocked down and weed barrier put out here. Who knows, maybe we'll do an outdoor run without the greenhouses back here, or there's extra space to put up a building for drying purposes, because currently there is no drying location on the property. Even with the size of the greenhouses, how are we going to flower 2,000 plants in a greenhouse with nowhere to dry the plants, right? So we're either going to have to fresh frozen it all or figure out a dry solution, which I have in mind at the front of the property, which I'll go over that once we get to the front. I want to give a big shout out to all the sponsors on the channel that have stuck by me the last few years. The last 2 years specifically, being in Thailand, it has been a challenge working with new partner in the indoor facility, and then also learning the country completely of Thailand, the culture, the language barrier, different stories, things that you take advantage of being at home that you don't realize are actually big things, like where to buy a certain item or how available is it. Will it get here in a week? Will it get here in a month? Will the quality be good if you order it online? Stuff like this is stuff that we overlook in the West, and opened my eyes big time when I came over here. Slowly but surely, we're learning everything. as we go over here. But Pulse has stuck by me probably from the very beginning. So big shout out to them for all their environmental sensors and water content sensors and everything environmental conditions related. You can use the discount code TERPEIs on the Pulse website. Front Row Egg Nutrients, which has been with me for several years now. Even when plants aren't doing too good, they still stuck by me when things are out of my control. Anybody could say, oh, he just doesn't know how to grow, which many people do say in the comments, but this is proof. You can be successful even when it looks like you're failing. You just need to know how to navigate it and pivot your actions to adjust to what's going on. So back to the tour. We're here at the front of the property where the indoor buildings or buildings of some sort are located. You can see that we have gravel all over the ground, which not sure what we'll use this for. Maybe give it away to some people. So much pots and trays here. More pots and trays, just a mixing station, I guess. They're doing transplanting under here. A little maze back there of different buildings, but we'll go in this first door so you can see the current cloning situation that they had. It's going to be difficult in here because there's no real light. Electrical work, another view of that for you guys. This is the only light that's in the place, and it's a green light, so it doesn't really work, but thankfully it's sunny out today. So you'll see, actually it's pretty bright in here, so we'll give you a wide view. This was what they were using as the clone room. We're gonna take these shelves out of here, get them out in the open, clean them up, throw out all the junk that's in here. This room, or this building, is actually double the size. There's just a drywall wall here, not very well constructed. So we're gonna actually take this wall out fully and make this room double the size. The building is actually concrete, so that's very good construction. Take out all this metal framing that they have put in everywhere. Honestly, looking at this metal framing everywhere, these are from the greenhouse. They never just installed them and used them around the property, so I don't know what we're gonna do since they cut them all up, or just buy new ones, purlins or whatever. Anyways, take all this stuff out, double the size of this location, and then this will be the wash lab, I believe. That's my plan anyways right now. We'll go around to the other side of that room so you guys can get a good idea of what this building actually is. This was being used as a staff sleeping quarters. Pretty rough, I would say, but you can see the drywall wall there. Easily to take that out, and then we have over double the size of space for what we need to do in here. Sorry, the door keeps closing, but over here there is a bathroom here. Very, very rough. We're gonna have to gut that, make it new paint. Sorry, the door closed, so it's pretty dark, but you get the idea of what's going on over here. Then as we work our way to the next space, this is where they showered the staff. Very, very rough. They had a washing machine back here, water inlet right there. Just a very basic farm right here. We got a toilet area, bathroom, I guess you would call this. As we walk back here, we'll go into this center building after. Here's another staff room. This one is a little bit bigger and a little bit more, I guess, a little bit better quality, but no insulation in this building, so that's, this is bugging me. My legs are just covered in these weeds, but you get the idea. Air conditioning in every single room in an indoor space, which is very good. Currently a little bed there on the ground. Very dirty room, I would say. We can clean this up, make it usable, put some new flooring down. Set it up as the actual room with a couch, a TV, a little kitchenette, like a little studio apartment. I would say my apartment, when I first started YouTube and decided to grow, wasn't much bigger than this. Maybe another half size bigger. And all I had was enough space for my bed, a 4x4 grow tent. You'll see in the past videos, right on first videos on the channel, my room was a bed, the grow tent, a couch, a TV, and a little kitchenette and a bathroom. That's all I had when I started the YouTube channel. sacrificed everything listening to that fan all day long, all night long when I'm sleeping. But this shows you anything's possible, guys, if you fully committed to your vision. So inside this room is actually 3 rooms. There's one here, one on the other side, and one back here. We're gonna rip down all these walls, make it all one big room, take out all this metal framing, all the electrical, and see just how jerry-rigged everything is. The walls here are just drywall, and then each room actually has air conditioning, so we'll have 3 extra air conditionings. One of them will remain in this space, but the way it's mounted on the interior walls, we're gonna have to remove that and put it on an exterior wall. But the other 2 will have extra to use around the property. Here we're getting around to the front of the property. Let me open this. They have it weirdly locked on the wrong side and it opens this way, so it's hard to go in one direction. More perlite, guys. Anybody in Thailand area want perlite, let me know. Lots more fans, you guys can see that. And then a huge stack of cocoa, which I think we're gonna use for the mother plants to get going. Just since it's here, save me some money, since I did dump a bunch of money into this place and need to do a lot of upgrades to make it functional again. So as we walk it out to the start of the property again, oh, we have visitors. Workers are here. So, oh, big crew. Okay, so here we are at the end of day 2 of owning the property, and we got a full day's worth of work. About 8 people were on site helping me clean up the property and renovating the first greenhouse to really improve it and get it operational as soon as possible. Okay, so here we are at the entrance. You can see that this area got cleaned up quite a bit. I'm not sure if you guys will really notice or not, but there were so many of these air pots. Sorry, the road that we're on is very busy, so it might be loud with the traffic, but we got all the air pots broken down, all the bottom pot risers and stuff stacked up here. We're gonna make a post of that, put it on the marketplace out there, see if anybody wants to buy it for like 1 or 2 baht per air pot. I don't even know how much these are worth, but we'll put them at a discount and just try and recoup some money of what I have into the place, which I did some math, and this perlite, vermiculite, and some other stuff in this building combined with the stuff that's behind this shade cloth might bring back a large portion of what I have into the property. You can see that the greenhouse, the first one, we got all the plastic off, all the bug or insect netting on there, or taken off, I should say. Also, once I go in there, we got the purlins on the roof all completed. There were 2 or 3 of these, I guess the actual greenhouse hoops that were lower than the rest of them. We got them all leveled out, so the greenhouse is completely flat all the way across. You'll notice the greenhouse number 2 behind that, there is a big dip in it right there, right in this center of the screen right now. The one on this one was, I think, these 2 right in the, these 2 right here. These were lower, and now they're completely flat. So we will be doing some improvements on this greenhouse right away. Like I mentioned previously, instead of having plastic go all the way to the ground, we're gonna go from this bottom rail to the floor using the same corrugated metal sheeting here to really improve any airflow getting under it or through that portion of the property. But if there's any weeds or grass growing along the edge when we're maintaining the property, it's not a chance of that plastic getting broken at any point in time. So that would be a good improvement. Let's go inside so you guys can see the purlins that we added, along with fix the center roof one that was done incorrectly by the previous people. So here we are at the entrance. You can see the one that we put on, the straight one, and the one above it that's nice and spaghetti like. The one above we'll take down tomorrow because that is no longer needed now that we added our own under the hoop, and then we added each side there, so we have full support on all areas of the hoops. We're gonna actually use these purlins as the area where we're gonna hang our lights along with the center and the far right one. So we'll have 3 rows of lights going down here. I think we're gonna go with either 49 or 52 lights in here. I haven't decided if they're gonna be LED or HPS, but this greenhouse is going to be mother plants slash teen or veg growing for the start anyways. We will try and do 1 flowering run in here, even though the light count will be a little lower than I would want for a greenhouse to be completely flowering. But they got all the plastic removed from both end walls, the entrance and the wet wall area. I had just placed an order for the metal sheeting, so we're going to also put metal sheeting across the entire wall, not just below the wet wall but above. I think that's the best scenario. It's not like it's blocking any light because the overgrowth on the other side, and as you can see the sun is setting there, and when the sun comes up it's on this side, so it's going directly over top the greenhouses. So the walls being completely solid sheet metal will not affect any light blockage or anything like that, so happy about that. Much more durable I feel having the metal sheeting on the end walls, and it'll be a lot easier to place the fans. So we'll be adding 2 fans in this one above the door right at the peak, if they fit there. I'm not too sure, but we'll add 2 up there and then 1 right here and 1 right there, so we'll have 6 fans on this end wall. I think that might be overkill, but it's better to have more than not enough, I feel, just to in case we run into any humidity issues. But that's a good update for today. I think tomorrow we'll get the metal sheeting on and hopefully the plastic over top. That'll be a good 2 days. I feel like if we can get 1 greenhouse knocked out in 3 to 4 days, that would be perfect. Then I know what amount of time I need to dedicate to each of the greenhouses going forward, because after getting this one broken down and overlooking everything after the plastic's off and all the debris out of the way, we noticed a few other things that were done incorrectly on these places, or not done at all. Like the center purlin is above the hoops, which we did fix on that side, and then these ones don't have any purlins on each side. So that's the main thing. Then obviously these ones that have been used, it's a lot more cleanup with the weed barrier on the floor, all the plants and the fans and lighting. But we got all that taken care of the first greenhouse, so I'm excited to continue this project going forward. We got also the electrical cut. This was the electrical line coming in here, and now it's removed, and we will be adding a 100 amp panel to each greenhouse, just so we have a good amount of power to work with, and several different breakers, so we can narrow down each breaker into a zone and piece of equipment, like the fans being on a few different switches, each row of lights being on a different switch, and then the mother plants being at the back half, those will be on a different breaker than the vegging and the teen mums. Anyways, that's gonna end it for today. We'll pick back up tomorrow and see how much progress they get done in another day. Another update, I think it was the last update I gave you was 2 days ago. The last 2 days have just been very hot and a lot of work, so I decided to take a little break from updating on video and just get the work done. So we got the metal fence that was here all knocked down, all the weed whacking done. Still need to clean up all the garbage, but at least all the metal and the weeds are all cut down now. So everything's looking really good over here and behind this building. Probably turn this into a driveway or covered storage space in the future, because we will need space for the orders of cocoa and other growing supplies. But this first room might look a lot worse than where we started, but it was everything in that back storage room we pulled out, and that's what's here. These big bags are 1 or 2 gallon fabric pots, which we are trying to sell as a bulk item here in Thailand. Got a couple boxes of hydroponic pots that we are selling. All these boxes are drip emitter assemblies, stakes, drippers, all this. So quite a few different boxes there. Just need to get rid of that stuff. Then we got the RO filters all right here. Replacements for the big unit at the back. Here's what we have gone through so far. Nice storage space that is locked and secured, so that's pretty good. We do have a few more wet walls here. I think there's 6 of them total. Yeah, 3 here and 3 there. So we'll add 1 on each greenhouse if need be in the future. And then everything else here is just electrical and plumbing supplies. A ton of different fittings, which we will use in the future. And just a lot of different breakers, timers, and wires there. We do have a bunch of sticky traps for bugs that we can utilize in the greenhouses once we start growing. But that's pretty much it for this room. Got a bunch of extra fans here, 2 big ones there, a big one there, and then a bunch of smaller ones. Lots of these blue rackings around the property, which we will actually put into one location in the future, just so we can have a storage space. But that's currently locked up, so I won't show you that right now. Some garbage we got to get rid of. Cleared out all this shelf of just miscellaneous junk that was just piled up there, so that's good to be gone. We have about 2,000 bags of perlite on the property that we need to get rid of. Gonna sell it at a discounted rate. Bunch of extra poles for greenhouses and around the property. Some black irrigation pipe that we'll be utilizing in the future. A pallet of Chinese nutrients. I don't know what we'll do with that. About 1,500 plastic hydroponic pots up there that we will be selling. Vermiculite all here. The irrigation room, we haven't done much to it, just organize. Each of these bins have nutrients in it just to keep them dry. You can see the open bags, so that's a good way to keep them dry and out of the weather. Definitely going to redo all this plumbing now that we have figured out where most of it goes and how it is routed. We're gonna move this tank over there beside that one, so it'll be 4 tanks along this edge. Behind that we will make a dividing wall, so this will be its own separate room, and then the doorway will be right here. And I've decided in the future when we do the dosatron setups, they'll be all stacked right there, so 4 or 5 separate dosatrons to go to each greenhouse, and then we'll have the smaller batch tanks or each part of nutrient tank along this little wall here. So nice little irrigation room that we have set up here. Get this RO system checked out and fully operational again. All the filters changed and whatnot that needs to be done. And then obviously the plumbing routed properly, so we're not stepping over it in the walkways, which is very easy to be done if it's laid out properly in this space. But that's it general over here. This still needs to go to the dump, or somebody actually wants to take it to their farm, so that's why it's piled up here, or it would have already been gone so far. We'll go back out to the main area before we go behind this building. So you'll see a lot of mess here. This is all metal that we found in the grass at the back of the property. This is not the same style of greenhouse as this, but a different style. I think it's still 8 meters wide, so similar, just a different gable top to it. We will set this up at the back of the property. I'll show you that later once we get down there, and then just put shade cloth over it, and we'll use it as an outdoor growing space. Not sure if it'll be for weed plants or for vegetables, but we definitely need the extra space, or not really need, but we'll add it just in case if we ever need it in the future, or the people that live on the property will be able to grow their own fruits or vegetables back there. But tons of different purlin piping here, the uprights, and then a bunch that have been just damaged, so we'll throw those out. We have 18 uprights, or pairs of uprights. These greenhouses are 21 pieces of the uprights, so it will be a little bit shorter, but that's okay because the property at the back is angled a bit. Go back here, show you guys everything that we dug up. Ton of these fans. I think there's 20 extra ones of these that are all stacked behind here. Big fans, smaller fans that are for the end of the greenhouses. Got all those air pots stacked up, disassembled. We're gonna try and recycle all those or sell them. I don't think anybody's gonna buy them, but we will be recycling them to get some money back. Just different steel around the property that we're gonna sell to the recyclers. Haven't done much in those rooms yet, but the real prize of this update is the greenhouse being pretty much the stopping point for the team that I hired to do this project. You can see that we've put metal sheeting across the bottom that will protect any bugs or rodents getting in. For the most part, they'll still be able to dig under and go in, but for the most part it secures it, and the plastic won't easily get damaged when maintaining the lawn if there's grass up to that point. I'm actually going to put like 2 feet of limestone screening in that section so no weeds will grow up close to the actual greenhouse. But we'll walk down there and show you what we did on the ends of each of this greenhouse, and then we'll replicate this one if everything works properly on the other greenhouses. Some extra wiggle wire here that we'll be using again once the shade cloth arrives. We're going to put 50% shade cloth across this entire greenhouse. That way it reduces the PPFD a little bit while we have our mothers and clones in there. We got a bunch of this property weed whacked. You can see that all the way back there. That's the walk or extra storage space that we'll be using, or driveway. You can see we did the end walls in metal sheeting, so that cleans up the space and also stops any light leaks from this property coming to us, as they do live there, so they do stuff at nighttime with their lights on. You can see metal on both sides. Our purlins are nice and straight, or straighter than they were before, so we got 3 up there on the inside. Before they only had 1 on the uprights, which caused the plastic to get damaged quite easily from the movement. It's really hot in here, so sorry if I'm out of breath. There is no airflow because the fans are not currently on, but we'll get down here to show you the end. We got 2 evaporator panels here. Looks like one's bigger than the other, so we'll have to see what sizes are the ones that we have in the storage back there. But the end wall is all metal now. If this current evaporation panel or wet wall is not enough, we'll add another one on top right in the center, so it'll be a long one on the bottom and then a smaller one at the top. But I think this cleans up the entire greenhouse so much, makes it look a lot better. Once our shade cloth is installed in maybe a week or 2, once it arrives from China, I ordered 5 pieces that are exactly this size greenhouse, so it'll be all one piece, no worries of it getting damaged or anything. Once those arrive, this place will be a lot cooler inside. Right now it's super hot. The one at the end, the greenhouse number 5, is fully sealed up and the door hasn't been opened in days. I went in there and I almost passed out instantly. It's so hot. But otherwise, cleaned up as we go down here. These next 3 greenhouses, this one, so the second, third, and fourth was where they were growing in before, the previous owners, and it was just filled with plants. We got all the plants removed now. It's quite a mess in here. I'm not going to go all the way down there, but you guys get the point. The plants are gone. Next step is taking all the black sheeting out of the ground and the ones hanging. We'll remove the fans, get those to the front of the property, and take out all the electrical in the place. We did get some removed, like the first greenhouse, we removed all the electrical from that one. We'll just work our way down now that we got rid of all the plants and pots on the property. That was the biggest job. Probably took like 7 people a full day just to remove the plants and take those to the dump. So I'm gonna have to replace all these latches because these are terrible. This one's just as empty of plants. This one had a ton of spider mites in it, so I don't really want to go in there right now, but empty, still a mess. Same situation as the previous greenhouse. This one had the light depth going on in it, and probably over 100 small little LED lights in there. But we pulled over the cover over the entire thing so the guys weren't so hot in here in the sun. So we got the 90% shade cloth covering everything, and as you can see, all the plants are gone and all the lights are gone. This was a big job in itself, just removing all those single square, like 6-inch by 6-inch lights. So that's all removed. The fans overhead are removed. Same situation. Removing the black plastic next and all the shade cloth. Really just want to get all the greenhouses to a clean, well, empty starting point so I can do what I do and make it look proper and operational. Still got to get all this irrigation pipe out of here from the previous owners, but way better than what it was.
I personally feel like a empty space is way better to build off of than trying to fix somebody else's doings. Never know what they were thinking or what their plan was. Like a bunch of random poles on the ceiling all over the place. Those will all have to come down. And these 3 greenhouses that they were growing in, the plastic isn't in the best condition, so I believe we're gonna have to redo all the plastic on all of them. Even though only the first one was ripped fully through, these ones have just so many holes in it, and they've already been taped up quite a bit, so replacing it will just be a good fresh start. I'm not going to go in this one because this one is ridiculously hot. I can't even stand in front of the door, it's so hot. That one's the same condition. Haven't done anything on this one. It'll probably stay like this until we're done cleaning up the other 3. But back here on the property is where we're going to set up that extra frame that we found in the grass over here. It was all scattered across the big weeds, so we're going to set it up over here, probably 3/4 of it on right next to this one, and then 1/4 of it next to that. So we'll have this entire space covered with shade cloth, which we will be able to utilize as outdoor growing space. We'll put the weed barrier on the ground so none of these weeds come back, and then hopefully we'll just put gravel along this whole side of the property so no weeds can grow up. The last thing we want to do is be walking through this grass and attract any spider mites or thrips into the greenhouses once we start growing in there. And having the gravel covering on this entire part of the property will be easy to keep it clean for any of the workers, because weed whacking this stuff every week will take so much time for the 1 or 2 people that I will eventually have staying on the property. So we're going to take a couple day break, probably 4 or 5 days from the property, and then head over to the cafe on the smaller grow tent, smaller rooms, and the grow tent room, as I'm just beat from this property and need a little break. It's such a big project and pretty overwhelming taking it on right now. I do got a lot of work to complete tonight once the lights go on at 5 p.m. in the breeding project room. I have to clone out the mothers, probably take anywhere from 150 to 200 clones, get those started in the rooting process, and hopefully by the time those clones are rooted, we'll give them a little bit extra time, maybe an extra week, so 3 weeks over there at that place before I move them over here. And we're gonna put them into the first greenhouse and see how they do. Hopefully in those 2 to 3 weeks I will have this first greenhouse operational. We'll have the shade cloth on it, the weed barrier, or sorry, the ground leveled, and then we'll put the weed barrier on. And also we have to run electricity to that greenhouse so we can have the fans operational, and also run the plumbing for the wet wall at the back of the property. So I'll give you the next update taking those clones at the grow tent room. Okay, so we're over here in the grow tent room from VivoSun and the Blem Genetics breeding project / mother plant and clone room. Got a lot of work done in here just a few hours ago. This is the evening of the last clip where we gave you the last tour of the greenhouse facility. So since the last update in here, there was a bunch of mother plants in here. I should have gave you a quick overview of the space in here before doing all the work, but honestly I'm just beat or pretty exhausted. It's been a pretty full last week, 7 to 10 days of constant work with the greenhouse facility, the cafe, and also these rooms here, this grow tent room and the 6 light room downstairs. Still constantly working by myself for the most part. We do have a team of workers at the greenhouse facility to really help me repair that first greenhouse and clean up the property, but otherwise all the plant maintenance goes on by me, and we are hand watering all these plants currently. So we did have a bunch of mother plants in here that was getting pretty big, so what I did today was clone them out into a bunch of cuttings and clones. So we did a full tray of orange kush cake, a full tray of strawberry banana cream, a full tray of peanut butter pie, a full tray of Sub-Zero, and then we have a mixed variety over here of frozen gelato, white inferno. We got half miracle glue here, and then behind that is Hawaiian rain. Since this space was emptied out from those mother plants, we moved our seedlings over here, which are stomp berries, Pheno Hunt from seed. We got 11 seeds that are all pretty identical in size and quality. So that's what we're gonna move forward to the next step We'll grow these out, take clones off of them, and then send them into flower. When doing a pheno hunt, you really want to grow out the seedling plants, take clones off of those, root them, and then flower the clones. That's the best way of finding what the plants are going to do in the clone form. Unfortunately, we're kind of tight on time right now. Since I'm going back to Canada at the end of June for a couple weeks, we don't have enough time to grow out these stompberries plants from seed, get the clones, root them, and then get them vegged big enough to send them into flower. So for this specific round, we're gonna flower out the seedling plants and have the backup of those genetics in clone form. And then we'll take the best plants that perform from the seed and then flower them out again. We'll take maybe the best 3 or 4 plants, so we narrow it down a little bit, and then get our real results on a bigger scale when we have those 3 or 4 different phenotypes across many plants, not just a single plant per phenotype. Otherwise, 1 gallon cocoa pots here, I still need to water them. I will be mixing a new batch of nutrients in here to water all the plants in here, as our breeding project over here is looking a little bit light green and showing early signs of nutrient deficiency. So by adding a little bit stronger nutrients for these plants, and the seedlings will be able to take those stronger nutrients also. We have 1 plant extra of each strain that we currently have in the place, minus the Hawaiian Rain, which we only have in clone form right here. So hopefully those have no problem rooting. Otherwise, these were just extra plants that weren't used for the breeding projects over here. So we're just gonna have them as mother plants in here, / depending on the size of them compared to the stomp berries, we might just flower this entire tent together. Otherwise, I'll take these out, move them to the greenhouse facility, and then we'll space out the stomp berries across the entire 4x8 tent to see the results of just the stomp berries in this tent. Who knows? We'll see how the plants look over the next 3 weeks before the last day I need to flower these plants, so we can make the deadline of me leaving on vacation for a couple weeks. Otherwise, clones all really turned out well, all pretty symmetrical in size and quality. Over here in the Blem Genetics breeding projects, we'll remind you that we're doing a Devil Cherries reversal on this grow tent, and over here we're doing Orange Kush Cake reversal. Closer look on the plants. Here's White Inferno. Very nice. You're seeing on the edges of the plant here some yellowing and crispiness. So we're gonna increase the nutrients on all these plants, as they are a little bit lighter green than I would like to see. We got Orange Kush Cake here, Hawaiian Rain, Rainbow Fruits, Peanut Butter Pie, Sub-Zero, Ipina, and Strawberry Banana Cream. So a nice selection over here. Pretty even size for so many different plants in here. We are probably gonna go about 1 more week, and then we'll flip to flower. Over here we got the Devil's Cherries, Peanut Butter Pie, Strawberry Banana Cream, Rainbow Fruits, Purple Pineapple, Sub-Zero, Ipina, White Inferno, and that one's Hawaiian Rain. So you'll notice that we have Purple Pineapple and Sub-Zero. No, Sub-Zero's over here. Purple Pineapple and Devil's Cherries in this grow tent, which we don't have over there. And then over here we have the Orange Kush Cake, which we do not have over here, because that will be the reversal. Otherwise, everything's looking good in here. We got the VivoSun 650 watt grow light up here, just going on, I think 60% power there, something like that. We're aiming for about 450 ppfd at the tops of the plants right there. Otherwise, I've been working in here for like 3 hours, so our CO2 level's not accurate to what we want it at. We have it currently set at 600 ppm. That's what I like my veg plants at, even though most people say veg plants don't use CO2. It definitely does. I see big results by having it set at 600 rather than the 450 ppm, which is atmosphere. Currently, it's close to 2000 ppm in here, just because I've been in here and working so much. Give you a quick look at the Sub-Zero here. So there they are, nice and healthy, no deficiencies or bug issues. Put that down nice and gentle, since it's hard to do with one hand in here. Otherwise, I'll give you another, actually we'll head downstairs now. I'll water these off of camera and then go downstairs on the 6 light room we will check out how those plants are doing in the second week of flower. Okay, here we are at day 11 since flipping this room into the flower mode. 12 hours on and 12 hours lights off. Super nice full canopy in here. We got the Pulse Pro, the Pulse Hub, taking care of all the environmental data control or data collection, so we know everything's on point while I'm away from this building. Like for the last 4 days when I am at the greenhouse facility, all I can do is come over here and water the plants daily by hand. Since we don't have the automated irrigation system set up, I don't think we're gonna finish it off because this is going to be the last round of plants in this building. But we'll go over the strains so far that we have. This one is strawberry banana cream. We got 6 plants of that. Day 11, guys. Solid bud development so far. Next one over here, we got peanut butter pie, 6 plants here. This one's a little bit farther ahead than the strawberry banana cream. Looking really good. Then we got frozen gelato. We got 3 plants on this side, which were bigger clones. And we have 3 other frozen gelato on the other side of the room, which we'll take a look at. And then we have 5 Ipinas over here. I don't really like this strain so far. It takes a lot of water and the plant doesn't seem to be as strong as the rest of the strains in the room. On this side we got Miracle Glue. We got 3 plants here. About the same progress as the other plants. Then we got Purple Pineapple. Little bit of purple stems going on right there. Nothing on the main stem so far. Actually, a little bit of zebra striping. So I have upped the nutrients in this room just like I have in the grow tent room upstairs. Just because the light green right here, you see the deficiencies going on. So we get ahead of that since it has already made it to the stems up here. But so the next strain is White Inferno. We got 6 plants here. This one seems to be very strong and vigorous. The stems are huge, nice and thick. A lot more purpling on this side of the room. That might be from the air conditioning being right directly towards it. I was thinking that this deflector would help. I think it did because the plants aren't as stunted in front of the AC like they were last time. We got the other 3 frozen gelatos. We'll take a step back. They caught up. They were very small before, but they seem to be the same size on that side as this side now, so that was good to see. And then we got 3 Sub-Zero right here, a little bit shorter of a plant. Still doing good. And then we have the Space Balls, which are not healthy at all. Haven't really came out of whatever was having an issue. Maybe, I don't know. They were just not liking the nutrients or the water, but we won't be growing that plant again. Over here we have our 2 reversal plants. I'll give them 1 more spray in here and then we'll move them into another place. There is no pollen sacs just yet, but you can see that it is definitely starting the reversal process. So we will slowly move those out of the room maybe in a couple days. But otherwise, this room is doing really good, really good. Currently 81 degrees Fahrenheit, and 80% relative humidity. We will start lowering the humidity pretty soon. But so far, we're kind of still in the veg phase, even though we are in the flowering stage. So we will lower that humidity a little bit over the next probably 3 to 4 days. Just want to give you guys a quick update on everything going on. I do have 1 more update for this video before we end it off, which is very exciting news. So we'll head downstairs into the VIP Cafe Lounge, which I gave you guys an update last week or last video on the channel, but we did make some changes over the last week. here we are in the VIP lounge now. We did a bunch of artwork and black light in the VIP lounge to really make it pop in here. It was nice when it was all black, nice and clean looking, but I feel like the color up here makes it a lot better from looking downstairs, and inside it's a lot better for Instagram posts and people really noticing where they are actually, because it's a trademark design or style in compared to other shops in the area. Not many people have anything like this, so here's a good overview of what the shop looks like now. We still need to add one more black light here to point it down the staircase. You can see the difference what a black light does for the fluorescent colors compared to having it on and off. The difference is quite big, so let me know what you think of the overall look of the lounge now that it's fully 100% completed. Anyways guys, I've been working all day since about 7 a.m. It's about 1 a.m. here now. You can see how hot and sweaty I am. Anyways, that's all the time I got for this week's video. So until next time, happy growing everyone. And remember to get out there and make it happen.